Welcome to this BEC Podcast. My name is Rasmus Beck and I have two champions next to me, European Games champions, Marcus Ellis Lauren Smith. Thank you very much for coming and welcome.
Thanks.
Marcus, we spoke, the three of us, actually not more than once this year. It's actually a weekly thing, more or less, because you guys been doing quite good again in 2019. When we spoke in 2018, it was all about, we still need to see how this mixed double situation actually goes. We also have our doubles and we need to see how your fix go. And now, 1 year later, you still have a lot of tournaments won. You are European Games champion, you and Lauren. You, of course, in two categories. This mixed double thing, how is that actually going?
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty good, I guess. I think when we started out, we never really expected to get to where we are right now. So, every match we win seems like a bonus. I think the main difference is now we have a bit more expectation on ourselves, which sometimes, brings pressure, etc., which, is absolutely fine. But sometimes we have to step back and take a look and see how far we've come in, the couple of years that we've been playing together. Of course, we are, right up there now, and we're fighting against some of the best pairs in the world, which ultimately that's exactly what we want to do. We want to win, but to be in the position we are, competing the way we are, that's the main goal, and it's something we've got to be happy with, whatever happens going forward.
Lauren, are you surprised that you and Marcus actually pulled it off and won that European Games?
I think I knew we were capable of it. We've grown from strength to strength in the last year or so. We've worked really hard in training, and we've actually started to work more on the things that we avoided at first, the things that we don't enjoy and the uncomfortable parts of the game for us. And we kind of just opened ourselves up to feeling those sort of getting things out and improving in those areas. And I think it's starting to pay off. It's given us like that little extra jump, and going into the games, definitely knew we were capable of winning. We were playing well, we were feeling confident. I think the thing that maybe put a bit of doubt in the mind was the physical side of the week. We played a lot of games because we played both events up to the final. And that was kind of the thing that maybe thought at the end it could be quite physically tough. But, that's something that we kind of have always prided ourselves on, is how gritty we are and how determined we are in those sort of situations. So when we got to the final, obviously it's quite a nervy game against people you train against all the time. But we were in it to win it from the beginning of the competition, and we managed ourselves really well. And I think, if you look at that week as a whole, we were really pleased with not just what we did on the court, but what we did away from the court to make sure that we were still firing on day 8 or whatever it was of the competition. So not surprised, just really happy that we managed to do what we knew we were capable of.
What was the key thing that you guys did off court, Marcus?
Well, I think when you, like Lauren highlighted, when you play one event, it's very easy to get out of the environment because you're playing a very maximum of one match per day. But, like you said, we played 2 every day. So we were there probably in the morning. You have to go back to the village or wherever, and then you come back again in the afternoon or in the evening. So you actually have very little time or downtime where you can relax and recover. But I think one thing we did do very well is we got the balance, just right. And it wasn't just us, it's, the team that look after us. When we go to these big events, I do have to say that Team GB look after us in a way that I would be quite confident no other country does. They're unbelievable. So it's not just things that we do, it's little things that the team does that enable us to perform to our best.
It was an all-English final. I know that this question you hated. I have asked you quite some times already during the year, so let's just get it out of the way. This fight or this hunt with Chris and Gabby for this spot, Lauren, how often are you actually asked about it?
We do get asked about it quite a lot. Obviously it is quite a big thing. I think of interest of, even some of the singles players are quite interested because it means they get an extra spot if either of us qualify in 2 events. And, there's a lot kind of more to it than just those 4 people, those 2 pairs. And I think people are always interested in a bit of like competition within a country. You know, I'd say there's interest in the Danish men's doubles at the minute, and you know, the German mixed and things like that. You know, it's a good story. So we do get asked it quite a lot. Obviously, it's a difficult question to answer. The thing for us is just focusing on playing our best all the time, managing ourselves through a huge amount of tournaments, figuring out how to manage the double event thing again. You know, it'd be quite a different story if it was just mixed for us. Our tournament plan might look different, but that's just what it is, and we've accepted it, and we've embraced it. So it is a battle between us. In an ideal world, we'll both be top 8 and we'll both go. That'd be brilliant, because you know both pairs are definitely capable of that. But apart from that, it's just about focusing on ourselves and seeing what we do tournament to tournament, because we can only control our own results.
But Marcus, I understand that from a teammate point of view, you have to say, of course, we would both like to be top 8. We hope that they do good and we do good, so both can go and all this. But at some point, you must, I assume, look at, okay, how is Chris and Gabby doing? How are their points? What do they have to defend compared to us, or what?
Yeah, I think it's very easy to make the comparisons, but I think using my past experience about what brings out the best in you is, so right now for me, I'm looking at what between 8 and 10 in the world. Like if we were looking at points, that's what I'm looking at. So I need to get this amount of points, which means I need to average this sort of area, and if I do, then I will go, or we will be the ones to qualify. If it's a case of, you know, they get higher than that, then, you know, that's good on them. But, you know, I wouldn't say I compare us directly, because I don't think it's very healthy, and I don't think it's good for your training environment or anything like that. So I think it's important that you look at all the other pairs that actually you still need to beat. You know, it's not a race between just the two of you. You know, there's always, I'm sure, in every country, doubles pairs, mixed pairs, singles players who are fighting to get the spot. But actually, if you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, all the other pairs out there, you still have to beat. And sometimes I think people get really bogged down, because, like you say, it's the question you want us to answer and say, well, we really want to qualify above them. But you know, I tried to look at it from a bigger picture and say, okay, well, I want to beat the Indonesian guys who are 8, 9 in the world. They're the ones who I'm going after. And at the end of the qualification period, if we've been good enough, we'll qualify. And you know, I think we both believe that.
You are in a situation where you, in the late 2018, did fantastic. You won a lot of tournaments. You also got a lot of points, meaning you have a lot of points to defend. Is that a good situation to be in right now, that you did good in 2018, having more points to defend? Or would you actually prefer to have done a little bit less good and then actually had a chance to actually get more points at that point? Or now?
No, I think it was beneficial to do well like we did. You know, it means team points that we had at Suderman were good, you know, because we had those points on from that good patch at the end of last year. It also means that we've got a few seed-ins here and there, which is always helpful to avoid, you know, you don't want to run into Siwi in the first round, really. So if you can get a seed-in, then brilliant, you can avoid that. And also, one thing for me with Olympics is I'm like qualifying and never look at it as a defending points kind of thing. I look at it as from the start of qualifying, you're on 0. Everyone's on 0. And that's kind of, you have to go from there. So if I was to look at, you know, my qualifying race, I wouldn't look at the world ranking, because the points previous to the start of qualifying are kind of null. So it's not as much a defence thing, it's more just you've got to go out there and do your best in every tournament. I think the good thing is that we know that we can come through long blocks of tournaments like this and do well and get good results. So when you're looking at 5 weeks of competition in a row or whatever, you go, well last year we did well in the end of it, so you know we can do that and we can get some benefits from it. And yeah, away from the defending points, it's just knowing that we can play well in those arenas and well in those situations, and that we're tough when it comes to long blocks.
Marcus, during the European Games, first of all, there's a lot of rumors in sport. That's no secret. There always is. During the European Games, I heard multiple rumors that the European Games were the last mixed double tournament for you guys. Was there something to those rumors?
That's new information.
That's new for you guys?
I think the only time we ever thought that we would stop playing mix was after the Commonwealth Games, because when we first started playing together, it was a means to an end. So we were going to play for however long, it was like 9 months or something, and then play the Commonwealth Games, because we knew we were having a shot of medaling. And in that 9-month period, we kind of did better than we expected. So after the Commonwealth Games, we thought, okay, so we should just carry on seeing how it goes. But since then, we haven't talked about stopping once. For sure, it's very, very difficult playing 2 events with the schedule that we have. But, I'm not thinking about stopping one anytime soon.
No, so rumors were just rumors.
Rumors were rumors. They always are.
Yeah, mostly they are. Mostly,
always,
yeah. Good, because that's good to also have that out of the way. Marcus, you mentioned Team GB. Team GB is, for those who do not know, that's Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and England going together for the Olympics. Lauren, as Team GB player compared to be Badminton England player, what are the biggest difference?
Well, obviously, the experience of Team GB for me has always been multi-sport. So it's been European Games and Olympics. You've had big days of going to kitting out where you get all your Team GB clothes and, they make you feel very special and look after you. And then you get to the games where it's a village. You're staying with a lot of other sports people. You're surrounded by physios. You have access to ice baths and like a common lounge and things like that. So it's very different as opposed to experience of a normal tournament. So a European Championships, for example, where you're there as Team England, we travel with our physio, with our coaches. You don't have the other British sporting people around you. So the experiences are quite hard to compare because the situations are different. But I mean, I've always absolutely loved being part of Team GB because for me, growing up, my parents are obsessed with the Olympics. Like they love the Olympics. So we always used to watch it. When it was on, it was huge, and it was obviously all about Team GB. And in Britain, it's a very it's a thing of pride, how well we get on for kind of the size of the country and all that kind of thing. So to be part of Team GB and be part of what I grew up being inspired by was very, very special. And the same side of things, Badminton England, to play for England, to get England caps is also special. I'd say the profile of it maybe is a little bit lower, but it's something that I hope can get more and more in England as I continue. And I just always hope that being part of either team, I can kind of put myself out there as a good role model for people, whether it's young girls or young badminton players, just anybody that will watch that and go, I want to give that a go. I want to do that. I want to, chase a passion. I want to do something with that much effort, so being part of either team it's different. It's always special, and it's just that I hope I portray myself well in both environments.
Marcus, how does it change your everyday life going from being Badminton England to be Team GB? Does it change anything at all?
I don't think it changes a lot from day-to-day life. Whilst you're in the tournament or competition, I would say it's quite different. It feels very different, I would say. Like, for example, we come here to Denmark Open or France. We look after ourselves, very self-sufficient. You go to a European Games or an Olympics, you have to think about nothing. Like everything is taken care of. I mean, I don't know what it's like for the other countries, but we have, they even tell you what to wear. Every day it's like you wear this color, you wear this. Your food is right there, and you have nothing to think about. And for me, I think that's one of the biggest differences. And you can focus all of your energy on competing.
Would you prefer being like Team GB every day compared to being Badminton England and taking care of yourself and maybe booking your own Airbnb or whatever you're gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're in that environment for a long time, it's very intense. it probably is stressful in a way. But if you ask me at the end of my career what are my most memorable experiences, I would probably say these multi-sport events. Not just because so far I've done quite well in them. It's the whole environment, the people that you see and people that you meet. It's like no other tournament in the calendar for me, and that's what makes it extra special.
It's no secret that you are not only a pair on court, you're also a couple off court. Lauren, going to an Olympics together as a mixed double, what would that mean to you guys? Because I assume that's something that would be a memory for life.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously for me, Olympics has always been a dream. I'm sure Marcus has been the same. Growing up, it's the pinnacle of the sport. And so to go just as an individual was very special, and obviously it wasn't individual, but it was very special and very enjoyable. But one thing that we've found kind of having been together and traveling together is that it's not like it's special, but it's just kind of easy and familiar, and it's nice to be able to kind of share the highs and the successes. Obviously the lows are sometimes difficult because you want to do so well for each other that, when it doesn't go well, you kind of feel terrible for yourself and for them, and it's like it's a lot more kind of emotionally invested than it would be in a non-couple partnership. But to be able to go to the Olympics together and experiencing that all together, obviously if we went and we played really badly, then that would probably taint the memory a little bit. But for me, the whole experience of being there and to share it with Marcus and just to kind of be able to enjoy it with that kind of home comfort there with me, it would be even more special.
Marcus, there's also a risk that Lauren is not going. There might also be a risk that you're not going. We never know about injuries. We never know about qualification. How would it be to leave Lauren back home in England and you should go to Tokyo? Because there is a risk.
Yeah, we already kind of spoke about it, didn't we? And it will be one of those things. I think it's very, very difficult. We both want to be there so badly, no matter whether it's mixed or doubles. And if one of us was to qualify and the other one wouldn't, like you said, there's this build up of, you go to get your kit and these special days beforehand, and then you go away for nearly a month on an experience of a lifetime. And obviously not to share that would be, really, really disappointing. But I think for me anyway, in Rio I had an unbelievable run, and I don't know if it will ever get any better for me. So not just for whilst I'm there, but even whilst I'm qualifying, I just see it as I've had the experience already, and if I don't get that again, then I'm okay with it. And by Lauren going, that's not gonna, it's not gonna make me have a bad opinion about anything. Because at the end of the day, if she goes for doubles, they deserve to go for doubles. And if me and Chris didn't qualify, that's just the way it is. But at the moment, fingers crossed, we're doing quite okay, and we both get the opportunity.
Do you agree, Lauren?
Yeah, definitely. I think like Marcus said, we have spoke about it, because it would almost be if I went and Marcus didn't go, it would almost probably be mentally harder for me as the one going, because you'd feel so bad. Obviously, it'd be hard to not go, but you'd be so torn in the joy of qualifying and the kind of disappointment of Marcus not qualifying or me, or vice versa. So as the person staying at home, we'd be proud of each other regardless. We both see how much work we put into this, and you kind of even see, most people, you kind of experience the training with them and you can see what they do there, and whereas with it's like this, you see everything. You see like when you're getting the foam roller out at home and doing it on the living room carpet at 9 o'clock at night or whatever it is, all the little extra bits, all the effort you put in. So to not see the other one go would be really tough, but at the same time, I think we're both quite mature people. So as much as being disappointed, we'd still be very happy for the other, and just kind of make the most of like Marcus says, it's all a bonus. Everything we do, we're very lucky to do what we do, and if we deserve to go, we'll go.
But for sure, the house will be quite empty those weeks if
Might
one
have
is
to invite the dogs down.
Yeah, I think so.
Marcus, after the Rio Olympics, there was a funding cut in England. Now, 3 years later, how does it actually affect you guys?
I think in the immediate aftermath of the cut, I think everyone was very emotional, and I think there was something did happen. You know, we had less people to play with, we had less coaches, and you know, we had less funding to go to tournaments. You know, and it was difficult. It really, really was. The last couple of years, we've tried to, with what funding we have, get a structure together. It's nowhere near as extensive as what it used to be, but it's certainly enough at the moment for us to be able to perform. I think what the worry is going forward, looking at our 17-year-olds who are coming through the junior system now. That is what I'm worried about. If I was looking at the future of badminton, you know, for sure we can make it through to, you know, the next end of the Olympics, or maybe a couple of years after that. But you know, you're talking about the longevity of the sport in Great Britain. It's certainly something we should be concerned about. And I just think it's very sad that the amount of money that we as a country get given to invest in our sports, that badminton was to get nothing. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, you know, after Tokyo, but you know, we've heard that there might be this rule where any Olympic sport will get a base level of funding, which will enable you to have a very basic program, which, don't get me wrong, is brilliant, because it means you'll have something. But for a country like ours that's represented in so many sports, you know, for people back home to turn on the TV and for half the sports not have any Great Britain representation in 10 years' time, just say, I think it would be really, really sad. And I think that is where the problem will lie, you know, not in the immediate next 2 or 3 years.
So players like, for instance, Hope Warner or Easton, former under-17 European champions, I think they just went to the World Juniors actually. They will not have the same chances to develop as you guys had?
They might do. I wouldn't say they won't. You know, it's just that we came through the system when we had quite a good amount of money. You know, we were very lucky, and it's the kind of thing you look back on now and go, and we did quite well there. You know, we always stayed at the Tournament Hotel, and Badminton always booked our travel, and just little things like that. But also, I went to Leeds University because I wasn't at the level to go to Milton Keynes yet, to the National Centre, but that was a high performance centre at the time. So there was a lot of players there. My partners were there. There was a good coaching setup. And I think it's things like that and things like external hubs of coaching or setups of players that is maybe lacking, which means players kind of have to come to Milton Keynes, which is a strain in a lot of ways. You know, when I first went to university, I was extremely homesick. And so actually looking back, would I have been able to move to Milton Keynes? I was 18 years old, I was an adult, and I still was like, I don't know if I want to stay here. So that sort of experience really matured me and made me ready for the National Centre, whereas some people are just going to be expected to come straight in from A-levels to the Badminton Centre, and that sort of stepping stone is maybe where it's lacking. But you know, from talking to a lot of the coaches, I know that that's what they're focusing a lot of energy on, improving and getting right. It's just that, like Marcus said, that immediate loss of money was quite a big hit instantly, and it shook the system. And we've kind of just got it back together. But you just worry, what have we missed in 2 years? You know, what might have slipped through the net? What opportunities have been lost? And hopefully it'll be none, and they'll come through stronger. But that is, I think, the reality of what happened.
It was a political decision to cut funding to UK sport, and then to cut badminton England. Another thing is also political, that's the Brexit. That's a topic that we also need to touch, because it can affect you and it might not. Lauren, what kind of thoughts do you have right now? I'm not going to ask you if you're for or against, because that's no fair. But as a badminton player traveling the world, traveling in Europe, what are the concerns of yours regarding Brexit and hard deal, soft deal, no deal, whatever?
I mean, it's probably more of a Marcus question than a Lauren question.
Okay, let's
but
push it to
let's go
Marcus.
You know, it's not something, again, I want to share like loads of my opinions
No need.
But I do think a lot of things you hear in the media is probably you shouldn't really believe it. You know, we're making out as if, you know, everyone is going to starve and, you know, we're not going to have medicines and we're not going to have this. And, you know, I'm not sure I really believe that. And I think it's a little bit over exaggerated. For sure, there's going to be things that will change and things we will have to do that we didn't do before.
What could that, for instance, be?
Like they've spoke about having like something in your passport for you to be able to travel in Europe, for example, and maybe for 2 or 3 years you pay like €10 or something. And you know, people are getting really upset about it, which it's absolutely fine. But you know, for me, if it's €10 to be able to just be like before, is it really a big deal for us? Probably not. You know, I think in the end, everyone will work something out, and you know, we will be absolutely fine. But at the moment, it is all that, you know, we can talk about as a nation, and I'm sure it is all over Europe as well. But hopefully the dust will settle in time. Yeah.
So it's not something that concerns you that much, as I can hear.
No, I think we're a strong country, you know, as in I'm not hugely powerful or anything, but we've always managed, and it is a big change that is coming. We don't really know what it'll be like, but we're just kind of the belief that it's not going to be that bad. You know, it might be like 6 months of like slightly chaotic and difficult to travel, and we have to get these visas, but it just seems like one of those things that will get sorted. And there's no point getting really stressed out about something that may or may not happen. You know, come up end of the month, it might not happen.
So you're not afraid that you cannot travel to Denmark or France in the near future here?
No, I mean, if it comes to that, then okay, then there's something
Then we're in trouble.
I think there's something really wrong. But I think most people now, it's been going on for so long. I'm sure it's the same in Europe. Like, if people just want it to.
Nobody knows, actually, right?
Yeah, people just kind of like want it to be sorted more than anything else. They just kind of like want to move on and get it sorted. So, you know, fingers crossed.
Yeah. One thing that's coming for sure, that's the Tokyo Games. There's also coming a time after the Tokyo Games. It's not unusual that we see players retiring after Olympic circles. Should we be nervous not seeing you in 2021, 2, 3, 4?
I don't think so. I think I've always said I'm never going to say this is when I'm going to stop. You know, it's maybe less than a year away from Tokyo. So let's just say if I do qualify, I would never say I'll play Tokyo and then I'll stop. Because I think it puts a huge amount of pressure on me. To everybody wants the fairy tale ending, and I think it very rarely happens. And I also think that you'll get a feeling as a player of when you stop improving, when you stop growing, and when you've maybe kind of gone, I've done what I want to do. I'm happy with kind of what I've given. This is away from injuries and things like that you can't predict.
No.
But if nothing like that happens, I kind of just hope that down the line I'll start to feel, you know what, that's enough. Maybe my body's starting to get a bit sore and I can't do what I want to do in training, or the travel is making me extremely weary, you know, that it's very busy. It could be things like that, but at the moment, you know, I still feel like I've got a lot to give. You talk about our mixed partnership, it's been 3 years, maybe less, 2.5 years we've played together, and look how we've come in 2 years. So, you know, what could I do in 2 more years? I mean, I'm 28 now, so I'm starting to feel a bit old, but I think...
then you just look at Marcus.
Then I'm like, I'm spring chicken. But yeah, I'd never want to say that this is when I'm going to stop and then go, actually, I feel like I have more to give. So I'll definitely, at the moment, in my head, I'm carrying after Tokyo.
But all jokes aside here, Marcus, do you start to feel old in the sport of badminton? You just turned 30, and we... No offense.
No.
And sometimes we see that players turning 30 is like, okay, that's it. But we also see a player like Joachim Fischer, who I know actually helped you guys out in England lately, who played till he was like, I think 39, maybe even 40. So it can also be a 10-year run. Do you start now to feel old in the sport of badminton?
Yeah, like you say, you know, there are plenty of players who are now carried on until, you know, well into their mid to late 30s, and you know, why not? You know, if your body's still happy and you know you're still playing at the level you want to play, then why not? I think for me, it's not so much about your age. It would, you know, like I've spoken to players who have retired in their own time, not been removed from the system, and they've said you just know when you've had enough, or when you want to stop. You just know when it's time, and I think for me that's certainly something that I don't feel right now. If regards to feeling old, yeah, I mean, you know, you see some of the guys that are here now, they're like 19 years old, but until like you say you're 30, and like, oh my, I'm 11 years older than you, you know, and yeah, but you don't think about it. It's really, really strange. You know, I still feel like I'm 23 or 24 or something, you know, and you don't really think about it until your body starts hurting, and then you think, okay, actually I'm...
Does it hurt more today than it did 2 years ago?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Definitely with each passing year, you start to feel more, or you have to do more to keep your body in check, keep it going. You know, I think I'm probably known for being, you know, full of beans, full of energy. You know, I'm an unlimited, you know, Energizer bunny or something, and you know, and it's something that I've always prided myself on, and that's why I've been able to play 2 events the way I have. But you know, everyone's got like a breaking point. You know, at the Sudirman Cup, I played 2 hours in a 3 hour period, you know, and I fell on the floor with cramp. So you know, everyone has a limit, and it was too much for me. But at the end of the day, most of the time I look across the net and the person is more tired than me, and
then it's okay.
For as long as it's like that, then I'm happy.
Okay, so I don't have to fear that you guys are quitting anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's good. My final question, guys, is of course the whole Commonwealth Games, because that's another circle you guys have. It's not for all of us. We can of course watch it, but for the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, is that actually that big a deal for you guys? If we should be completely honest now, is it a big deal, or is it just something that, okay, it's nice? What?
No, it's a big deal for me. You know, I've been to 2 now, and it's similar to the Team GB experience, but you're Team England. But the environment again is multi-sport. You have all these other athletes around you. I mean, I'm a bit of a nerd at multi-sport events. I always want to speak to other people, like, what do you do and how does that work? So you know, for me, being part of those teams is really special. And I think the coverage of things like that is one of the times badminton gets good coverage in England, and you know, to be in Birmingham would be incredible. I was in Glasgow, so I mean, it's only about an hour and a half from my actual home, so it was probably closer than Birmingham to my actual home. And you know, I absolutely loved that. My family were there. It was really great to have them to be able to come and watch me, because you know, usually I was in Gold Coast, for example, they didn't quite make it over there. Yeah.
Quite far.
So yeah, it is really special for me, and I've had 2 very good experiences there. Obviously, a third would be great, like I said, depending on how everything feels afterwards. But you know, it's something that I'm not thinking about yet, because there's so much going on right now that I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But I'd love to be part of that. And again, it was an inspirational thing for me as a child. I went to the Manchester Games and watched and got some autographs and run around and like got really excited. And so again, the experience to be on the other side of that and maybe inspire somebody else is another special opportunity.
I know that you guys are already inspiring a lot of young people, so thank you for that, first of all. And secondly, thank you for stopping by the podcast. We appreciate it. And most of all, I'm very happy to hear that you're not retiring anytime soon. We need some good European players on top, so thank you for not retiring. And thank you for watching this BEC podcast. We will come to you soon again.